I'm going to match the color of the sky, and I'll start with ultramarine blue and titanium white. I think it needs a little magenta and some yellow. A little bit more white. More blue. More yellow. It's way too much on the brush. I still think it needs more blue. That's looking pretty good. I'm going to match the color of my skin, and this is Hansa Yellow Opaque, Pile Red, make it orange. It needs to get lighter. It's too vivid, so I'll add some ultramarine blue to it. That makes it green, so some quinacridone magenta will balance that out. Some ultramarine blue. It's a balance between the magenta and the ultramarine blue, and then that's much too dark, so I'll add some more white to it. It's starting to get close. I see more magenta in my skin. Needs to go lighter. It's pretty good. I think maybe a little more blue. Just a touch of magenta. More white. A little bit of magenta. I think that's it. I'm going to match the color of this ice, and I'll start with ultramarine blue, white, some magenta, and yellow. Trying to make like a gray. So it looks too green. I'll add a little bit of magenta in there, neutralize that. It's too much. I'll add some yellow. It needs to go lighter, so I'll add some titanium white. It's getting pretty close. There's a lot of variety in that ice. I think that matches the dark spots. If I add more white, I think that's pretty good right there. I'm going to match the color of the snow, and I'll start with white, ultramarine blue, small amount of red, more blue. It's looking pretty good. I think it needs some yellow though. I think yellow will help make it a little bit duller. Still more blue. That's looking pretty close right there. I think that's it. I'm going to match the color of this peanut butter, and I'll start with cadmium orange, and then I'll add ultramarine blue to make it brown. A little bit of titanium white to lighten it. A little bit of Hansa Yellow Opaque to make it more yellow. Needs to go lighter. More yellow. More white. More yellow. Pretty good. I think I could see maybe a hair of magenta in there. I would say that's it right there. I'm going to match the color of this water right here, and I'll start with yellow, red, and then I'll add blue, and this should make it brown. I'll add some white in there. Looks too green, so I'll add some red. Needs to go lighter. I think it needs a little ultramarine blue. And maybe some magenta just to counteract some of that green. That was too much. Well, I'll add some white in here because I can see this needs to go lighter. I'd say that's about it right there. It's pretty close. If I wanted to really tweak that, I would add the blue and then some magenta, maybe a little bit of yellow. and a touch of white. I think this is more the angle I was looking at. That looks pretty good. I'm going to match the color of this paper. This is yellow, phthalo red, titanium white. I think I'll add some magenta in there because it needs to go more warm. It's too vivid, so I'll add some ultramarine blue. I think it needs to go lighter. It's looking pretty good. Maybe a little bit more white. I think that might be it. I'm going to mix the color of this paper bag, and I'll start with cadmium orange, titanium white, some ultramarine blue to make it duller. It needs red, some more yellow. Still needs to go lighter, and it needs more blue to make it more brownish and duller. Needs to go lighter. I still think it needs more blue. I think maybe just a touch lighter. I think I would add more blue if I wanted to tweak that. Then it still has to go lighter. Still more blue. Some white to make it lighter. I think that's it right there. I'm going to match the color of this gray rock without using black. So the way I normally mix black would be to take phthalo blue and quinacridone magenta and make a bluish purple. Then this is benzimidazoline yellow, which is more transparent than the Hansa yellow opaque, and you can use that to neutralize it. I can see it's going green, so that means I need to add more quinacridone magenta. So it's kind of like a purplish color, maybe a little more yellow. If it's too dark, I'll add titanium white to it, and it's definitely too purple, so more yellow. It needs to go lighter. I think a little more magenta because it looks a little greenish to me. Maybe a little more white and a little bit more yellow. It's pretty good. I'm going to match the color of this red onion, and when I mix purple I usually use quinacridone magenta. And I'll add ultramarine blue to make it more purple. It needs some white. Makes it lighter and it also makes it a little bit more opaque. Looks a little too purple, I think maybe some magenta. Looks too purple, it needs more magenta. Maybe a little more magenta. It's a pretty good match. Maybe a touch of like yellow to make it a little bit more muted. I would say that's a pretty close match right there. So I'm going to match the color of this water, and I'll start with white and ultramarine blue and some red to make it duller. Needs a little bit of yellow. That's pretty good, maybe a touch more blue. I think that's pretty good, maybe the water's a little bit darker. More red. More yellow. I think it needs more blue. It's too much. More red. I think that's it. I'm going to match the color of this field, and I'll start with titanium white, Hansa yellow opaque, pyrola red. It's too much red, so I'll just add more yellow down here. It needs ultramarine blue, some magenta, maybe a little bit more blue, mix some of that red in there. Yeah, probably needs to go darker, so more blue. Oh, that's way too much. Some red. It's not too bad, it's too blue. Add more yellow. And a little bit of red. Touch of magenta. I'd say that's about it. Going to match the color of this flower. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to match the color of this tomato, and I'll start with pyrrole red. It needs to go more orange, so that's Hansa Yellow Opaque. And I need to make it more dull, so I'll add ultramarine blue. Needs more red. It's pretty good. I'll match the green stem too, so I'll take Hansa Yellow Opaque, add ultramarine blue to it. Needs to go darker. It needs something to dull it down, so I'll add the pyrrole red. I'm going to match the color of this train, and I'll start with white and phthalo blue. Touch of red. Maybe a little more blue. More white. It's pretty close right there. I'm going to match the color of the stone, and I'll start with Hansa Yellow Opaque, pyrrole red. It's too orange, it needs blue to make it more brownish. It just needs to go darker, so I'll add blue and some more red. Still more blue. Some yellow and white. Oops, got some water on there. More blue. Touch of magenta. It's looking close. A little bit more blue, a little more red. I think that's about it right there. I'm going to match the color of this clamp, and I'll start with Hansa Yellow Opaque and pyrrole red. Needs a little more red, and I think a little bit of blue just to make it darker. It looks like it has some magenta in there. Maybe just a little bit more magenta. A touch of blue. I think that's it right there. I'm going to match the color of this thesaurus without using blue, so I'll start with Baxazine purple and phthalo green. It's too dark, so I'll add some titanium white to it. That looks pretty good right there. Maybe just a touch more purple. And a little bit more white. Pretty close. I think if I were to make that an exact match, I'd have to use some other colors. I'd have to use a little bit of magenta, just a touch of yellow to make it a little bit less vivid. I think that's it right there.